Alright, hello there folks. This is Alan recording another Best Out of One comprehensive draft video. Today, it seems like Ranked Draft Dominaria has arrived in Magic the Gathering Arena, and I'm very excited. This is a very good set, one of my favorites. Sets like Modern Horizon and Dominaria are full of very interesting, fun, balanced archetypes that the power level of the cards aren't too high in this set, and there are very fun combinations and synergies that you can discover. Very fun draft sets, much more slow and grindy compared to the other previous drafts that we've done, but there's lots of flexible options, lots of powerful bombs, but they aren't unbeatable unless it's Multani, and yeah, lots of very fun choices to choose and decide from. And yeah, I don't mind starting our first draft video on this. I think this is a very fun set, so let's begin. And the pack one pick one was our rare. Togar Famine Incarnate is very good, only if you are in the Saprolings deck. Black-green is usually the color that you're looking to play the sacrifice archetype in, and in that case you want to sacrifice Saprolings with this card. Whenever you sacrifice a creature, it costs 2 less to cast, and then when it enters the battlefield, it can basically cut the opponent's life total in half. So it can basically set the opponent's life at 10 and then put out a giant 7/6 creature. That being said, it's not to be played in any black deck, of course, so not a very flexible option. But if you can force yourself into black-green Saprolings, or if you're already in the black-green Saprolings archetype, Togar is definitely incredibly powerful, no doubt. Looking at the uncommons, there's Settle Score as premium removal. 4 mana, 2 colorless, a double black, just exile any target creature is already amazing. However, the part with the loyalty on the planeswalkers aren't very there's not very many planeswalkers in this set besides Teferi, so you don't need to worry about the 2 loyalty part. Just the fact that it deals with any big threat, any big bomb or flyer is very good. Definitely a great card. Then there's Memorial to Genius as a nice upgrade over land. Probably the best upgraded land in this set, since if you sacrifice it, you can draw 2 cards, which is almost like a nice divination in the late game. Usually, it's always great to take upgrades in the land slots over, you know, picking up another playable, just in case you might be packed in playables. The land can be upgraded to kind of give you a good advantage. So definitely a good card. Looking at the commons, the ones that really stand out is Vicious Offering. Just 2 mana, give a creature -2/2 is great. And if you're able to sacrifice a creature along with this, it can just pretty much deal with almost any threat by giving it -5/5. Again, does play well better in the Saprolings deck, of course, if you want to get the highest value. So really, in this pack, it's only between the black cards. I don't know if I want to force myself into black-green Saprolings deck, and in this case, Togar will be the pick, and it's definitely a very big, strong card. But there tends to be lots of powerful premium removal in this set, that even if you end up managing to resolve Togar, it can get answered. But that being said, it does cut the opponent's life total in half, which is very powerful. However, it's not very flexible, and it does take some work. While instead of taking a card that requires a little bit more work, maybe we should just take a good card that's great by itself. All it needs is double black and 2 colorless to cast, and it deals with any big threat. Doesn't ask much of you, doesn't ask you to be in a single archetype right away. And that's usually how I like to start a draft, unless the card is a very busted bomb. Togar is definitely an excellent card if you can play it in black-green, but it's definitely not a bomb. It doesn't win you the game automatically once it comes into the battlefield. It doesn't have trample. It can easily get chump blocked. It can still be removed. It isn't a slam dunk card that you must first pick. So yeah, I don't mind leaning towards a Settle the Score. Otherwise, Togar would be nice if we end up in black green, but we could probably be in any color right now with this card: black blue, black red, black green, black white, and this can fit well in pretty much any deck that's looking to play double black on turn 4. So I think Settle the Score is the pick here. This is a really nice, powerful, interactive spell that deals with pretty much any threat. So let's take it. Alright, well, the bots have to be drunk, because no way in hell do you ever pass up a first pick Lyra in a draft. This card is probably the most, one of the most busted mythics in this set, along with Multani and maybe Shalai. But yeah, a 5-mana 5/5 flying with first strike and lifelink is incredibly busted. Even there's not too many angels in this set to give the Anthem effect with, but if you do pick up a Shalai to go along with this, you pretty much give it +1/+1 and lifelink as well. But then, even then, a 5-mana 5/5 flying first strike lifelink body is pretty broken. So the bots have to be drunk to be passing this. I don't know what the hell they're smoking, but it can be played in a black white historic deck, which is looking to be quite aggressive, or we can lead off again with white as our primary color now, after since this card is much more stronger than Settle the Score. Looking at the uncommons, there's Fire Fist Adept, which is great in the blue-red Wizards deck. Outside of it, it's pretty bad. But in the blue-red Wizards deck, if this can enter the battlefield and do at least 3 or 4 more damage, it's incredibly powerful. Just as a nice body that enters the battlefield and also deals with a creature right away. Pretty strong card if you're able to be in that archetype, but otherwise it's quite useless. Memorial to Unity is fine as well. Nice land in the late game and upgrade just to kind of help find new playables. Other good cards are Pegasus Courser, Fungal Infection is decent, Baloth Gorger. But overall, if Settle the Score wasn't, if Lyra wasn't in this pack, what would I pick? I don't know, maybe I could speculate on the blue-red Wizards, and Fire Fist Adept can be pretty powerful. Otherwise, I could maybe branch off, take a Pegasus Courser or a Baloth Gorger. Fungal Infection, I don't think it beats any of these cards. I might be speculating on blue-red Wizards, seeing this being passed up, and see if I can fit into that archetype. But yeah, nothing beats Lyra here. Just a really busted mythic, and I would like white to be my primary color. And if not, if black-white is open, we can be in a nice aggressive black-white historic deck. So yeah, Lyra is busted. Let's take her. Okay, a lot of other great cards. There's Baird, Stew of Argive, which is a bit of an overperformer. Nice card to play in a more defensive deck, I guess, since it makes this card is very hard to get past, since it has a nice stat line as a blocker, and then the opponent has to pay 1 for each of the creatures that are attacking, so it kind of slows them down if they're trying to outrace you. There's On Sarah's Wings, which is great. Gives a creature +1/+1 flying, vigilance, and lifelink to kind of upgrade a ground creature. So that's also very good. There's Gideon's Approach as kind of conditional removal, but it's solid nonetheless. I guess there's Divination as well as a nice card draw spell. But really, I think it's just between these two, Baird and On Sarah's Wings. If you're looking to be in black-white historic, Baird would kind of fit the historic theme. I guess On Sarah's Wing does as well. And between these two, maybe On Sarah's Wing is just maybe more powerful, since it can kind of give an unexpected creature flying, get in for a bunch of lifelink, and catch the opponent off guard, while Baird is just going to be much more slower ground blocker that you can always get more of in this draft set. Gideon's Reproach will be fine, but I don't think it can beat something like On Sarah's Wings. So I guess we can just stick with white historic. Yeah, Gideon's Reproach is fine, but it's more conditional removal. I don't mind picking up one later, but it's definitely not beating these two cards, of course. Don't mind the On Sarah's Wings here, so let's take it. Just enhancing a creature and giving it Flying, Vigilance, and Lifelink is already powerful enough. Now, what do we have? In the uncommons, we have the Wizard's Retort, but unplayable outside of the blue controlling or Wizards deck. There's Dominaria Trapper, which can be pretty decent. Nice 3-mana 3/2 card, keeps us in white, and it plays well with kind of our kind of our historic theme. So if you're looking to be aggressive, Dominant Trapper is a great 3-drop to play that can start shutting down the opponent's cards and tapping them down. Mesa Unicorn is above average 2-drop, just a nice 2-mana 2/2 lifelink that can get in for some health in the early game. So both of these would be fine. I think the Omnivore is best in the much more black-white Saprolings deck. White is, of course, going to be historic in pretty much any other combination, so Dominant Trapper can just fit into it very well. Mesa Unicorn is just a solid 2-drop that I don't mind taking, they say when in doubt, just take the cheaper card, and in this case, Mesa Unicorn is definitely worth it. But Dominant Trapper does have a little bit more synergy right now with the Onsera's Wings and Lyra, and they could steal a game and deal some damage and catch the opponent off guard. So I don't mind taking it here. We do miss out on Mesa Unicorn, but so what? There's always more filler 2-drop. This is an above average 2-drop, of course, but I don't mind playing filler 2-drop over it, as long as Dominant Trapper can tap stuff down. It's a pretty decent card, so let's take it. Here, what do we have? Without Soothsayer is not something you really want to play in a historic white-black deck. There's Banash Onagarn as a mopey 2-drop that we can always pick up later. Soul Salvage, if we want to stick with white-black, can be fine to kind of fetch back any creature that ends up in the graveyard. Grow from the Ashes can be a nice way to ramp in case you're in green. Helps you splash as well for a second color. And we could just be in green-white tokens, and the Grow from the Ashes can be used to maybe ramp out Lyra or any mid-game curve toppers, or splash for another color. Don't know, but I think I'm leaning Soul Salvage here just because we have Sell the Score, and we know this is a very powerful card that we are kind of leaning to play against. Otherwise, a much more open card would be Grow from the Ashes if we want to move into white, green, historic, go wide tokens. But for now, I think white-black historic is fine, and Soul Salvage is a pretty decent card to pick up. There is a Lingering Phantom, which is a clunky 6-drop, which kind of pays you off for being in the historic theme, but a 6-mana 5/4 isn't all that amazing at the end of the day. It can still be chumped. The stat line isn't all that amazing at 6 mana. It doesn't have any evasion. However, you can just recur this back over and over again if you have enough mana to do it. But it's going to cost up to maybe like 7 mana just to get this back, and 6 mana just to recast it again. I'm kind of digging this second Dominant Trapper just to prioritize our historic theme even more, so we can be in a very aggressive historic archetype, just playing lots of artifacts, equipments, and legendary creatures to kind of get across the finish line. And I think with Onsera's Wing, Dominant Trapper, and Lyra, the Dawnbringer, it seems like the plan is just to be aggressive. Otherwise, there is Deep Freeze if we do end up in blue-white, and as long as we have a decent number of Flyers, we can maybe fly through it and close out the game. But I think I like the Dominant Trapper here, just as a solid 3-drop. Plays well in this archetype that we're kind of building on into. Now could just take a Fungal Infection, pretty decent removal spell. Can usually cast those 2 toughness creatures off guard by giving them -1/-1, and then using the token to trade them off. It's good against 1 toughness anyways, and it could also help you make a reasonable block against an opponent, and you can use Fungal Infection to kind of get that free card from the opponent. Just a 1 mana, just casting this for 1 mana and trading off for a big creature is really nice if you can kind of force them in an awkward position to attack or block. That being said, nothing else in this pack. Could main deck in Volta Divine, and there's plenty of enchantments I think maybe in this set to get rid of, and artifacts, but for the most part they don't come up too significant. But sometimes you do shoot down a Traxos, or again in Onsera's Wings that you can't deal with. But I think Fungal Infection is most likely going to make our deck, and much more doesn't require us to be too adventurous into taking that risk. So I think Fungal Infection is good here. Could take a Cabal Paladin, pretty bad since it trades down. It does play well the historic theme since it can kind of drain your opponent, but it is a 4-drop we don't really want too much of. Neo Banali is not too good, but I could see as a mopey 2-drop that we can take. There's also a Esther Glider, which is a fine historic spell that we could end up playing. Just as a nice way to, again, tap down target creatures, get a 2/1 to start attacking through. So I don't hate this card here. We do need to work on an early part of curve, but neither the new Dominaria is pretty bad. Since at the end of the day, it's mostly just going to trade with a 1 toughness creature. So yeah, maybe don't mind the Aster Glider here. Just kind of give us some more historic, aggressive creatures to go with this Dominaria Trapper. Don't think I'm playing any of this. Maybe dub if I'm desperate. How goods will take server. I guess it could be a fine blocker, but we're looking to be a lot more aggressive in this deck. Parting Wanderer isn't all that amazing either, though. We could be in white-red enchant equipments, and Rampaging Cyclops can be a fine blocker. So maybe just take a Mopey 2-drop in case I don't pick up any more. So I guess we'll take it. None of this matters. Maybe we end up in white-green tokens, and this can be a fine card. Might as well take this now, I guess. White-blue. Don't think I'm playing Tolarian Scholar anyways. Alright, so a pretty decent start to draft. White is definitely the color we want to be. We definitely want to abuse the historic theme with these dominant trappers and be quite aggressive. White is the most aggressive archetype in this set, and as long as we're pressuring the opponent, removing the creatures, tapping their stuff down, we can get across the finish line. Looks like our secondary color is black. But who knows, it could change into something else if we open up a bomb in another color, and the pack is just giving us a lot of playables in that color. But overall, pretty solid start to a draft, so let's move on. Alright, now what do we have? Ooh, Knight of Grace is one of the best 2-drops in this set, along with the Knight of Malice. If we're looking to play this in white-black, it's even better, since it can just get that +1/+0 by itself. As long as a black land is on the battlefield, this is already a 3/2, which is very powerful. Also has first strike and hexproof from black, so definitely great. Other fine cards, wouldn't mind Call to Cavalry as a 4-drop that we can play to kind of go wide. Another Dominaria Trapper can be pretty decent, even though we have 2 of them already. Sergeant Arms, whatever. But the best card in this pack overall, in terms of pure power level, is maybe between Knight of Grace and Naban. Naban's definitely good, but again, only plays well in the Wizards theme, requires a huge commitment right away, while Knight of Grace is definitely first pickable, a great uncommon, a fine start to a draft. So, Knight of Grace it is, just a great 2-drop. Now this is interesting. There is Tatiana, which is fine, 5 mana 3/3 flying first strike, but there's no reason for us to move into red. Other good cards here, there's Academy Journey Mage, but plays better in the Wizards archetype. Can be a fine 5-drop overall, but not great unless you're Wizards. I guess we can go for a Calico Skin Witch, since we know we do have some nice black cards, especially Settle the Score as good removal, Soul Salvage to grind, and then Fungal Infection can be fine. That we're kind of leaning towards black anyways, and this Calico Skin Witch can be a decent blocker on turn 2, and then in the late game it can make the opponent discard 2. There's also Baloth Gorger, kind of filler 4-drop. Not a filler, but pretty decent 4-drop that's kind of big and hard to deal with. But I'm liking this Calico Skin Witch. Given that we have Knight of Grace and Settle the Score, maybe black is the color to still stick with, but we'll see. Ooh, Cast Down. Well, that's great. It shows that black is open, so we start out with a nice black uncommon, a nice white mythic, and both of the colors are really open in this draft, so I think the bots are kind of reading our minds. But Cast Down is definitely excellent removal. Just 2 mana instant speed, destroy target non-legendary creature, can deal with almost any threat, of course. Very flexible, very powerful. I also wouldn't mind Words of Glory as a nice upgrade over a land in the late game. Even Sentry I wouldn't mind as well as a decent flyer that can start clocking the opponent in the air. Also Wind Grace I wouldn't mind as well to gain some life and use as a curve topper to fly over. But yeah, Cast Down is just the most powerful card in this pack, and gladly I took it. And now what? Best card in this pack is Elfame Druid, but I think we're kind of far away from that. I think Dark Bargain is worth taking just as a nice way to draw cards in the late game, and to kind of find our playables, so I don't mind taking it here. Sylvan Awakening is okay, but it's not all that impressive unless you can make it into the late game and the opponent is kind of low on life. You can just pretty much finish them off with this. So it's mostly a finisher, but it's kind of awkward in the late game, in the early game, since you won't have too many lands, and the opponent should have some decent blockers enough to stall them off, since they're only 2 power and 2 toughness. So I think Dark Bargain is the pick here. Alright, and Eviscerate looks excellent, and some other great white cards too. I wouldn't mind an Aven Sentry, which I really like, just to have an invasive threat. Another Dominaria Trapper is fine, also Banalish Honor Guard. But yeah, if we take our interaction to this side, we could use another removal spell, and Eviscerate's great, can just answer anything pretty much. So obviously the pick here, but yeah, black it is, black-white historic it is. Now it's second Calico Skin, which is great. Again, not a decent blocker on turn 2, and then in the late game you can make the opponent discard 2 cards. So it's quite flexible and powerful, and the opponent might not play around it, which can be problematic for them. So let's take. Now could just take my Knight of New Benalia. Could just take a Windgrace Acolyte to just fly over, perhaps. Not that amazing unless you have a lot of recursion going, but then again, Knight of New Benalia kind of sucks. So could just take the extra flyer to bring in some evasive damage. So yeah, let's do it. And hopefully maybe we can pick up a second Soul Salvage to go along with this. Charge sucks, so don't think about it. +1/+1 is not enough, but I don't think I'm playing a second Dark Bargain. I guess I could. So I guess I put in the sideboard maybe. Nothing here. Could just main deck and Invoke the Divine to deal with annoying enchantments. Maybe Spartan Construct. But I highly doubt it. Don't know how grindy we're going to be, but we would probably need a little bit more Soul Salvage to justify having 2 Windgrace Acolytes, but there's nothing else in this pack, so I guess we'll take it. Tragic Poet can be fine if you have Sagas. Alright, so second pack, it was pretty excellent. We picked up some nice black removal spells. Not too much in terms of whites, but we did take the removal spells over them. So what we really now need to do is maybe have a few more 2-drops. Some evasive threats at 4, and this deck should be pretty solid. Maybe we pick him up in Arvad as a nice 5-mana payoff for the white-black historic deck, and this can be pretty nice. But overall, we're looking to be very aggressive in this deck. So let's move on. Alright, there's Traxos. And what else is there for us in black-white? Not much. So I guess we just take it here. How many ways do we have to untap it? It plays well to Voltaic Servant, so I don't mind maybe even playing this in the deck. Don't think I'm playing Spartan Construct. Aether Glider can untap it, also on Sarah's Wing and Lyra Dawnbringer, so there's some okay ways to untap it, but definitely a powerful card if you manage to untap this and just constantly get in. A 4-mana 7/7 Trample is definitely no joke. We could even end up playing Guardian of Koilos in this deck. But overall, white-black doesn't have much to offer, so Traxos it is. And white has some historic themes, so it's great along with it. Now what? The best card in this pack is Untamed Kavu. Don't think I need a second Sparring Construct. Could take a second Soul Salvage, since I might be running 2 Windgrace Acolyte, and then those can kind of help fuel our graveyard. So, and these help fuel our graveyard, so double Soul Salvage can help us find Lyra. Here, it's a pretty bad pack. Helga's a Sorcerer's Wand, not that great. Maybe just take a Mopi 2-drop. Don't think I want to play Navigator's Compass just to untap Traxos. So, yeah, just take a crappy 2-drop here. And, dude, there's Pegasus Courser. It might be better than Aven Windmage, since it can kind of leverage our ground creatures flying. And it's also 1/3 flyer by itself on turn 3. That being said, we don't have much at 4, besides Atraxos and on Sarah's Wings. But we could use another 3-drop, of course. And Pegasus Corsair is definitely better than Aven Sentry, especially if we can start giving our 2/2 creatures flying. The problem is that we already have a lot of flying in this deck going on, with Lyra, double Windgrace, and on Sarah's Wings, and even an 8th Esther Glider. I don't know if we need like a 1/3 flyer that can leverage something flying. I guess it can be fine with Dominaria Trapper if we untap with Traxos, I guess. Banalish Honor Guard, Knight of Grace, Caligo. But I feel maybe Aven Sentry is just better. Just because we have all this flying that we don't care about giving flying to. I mean, I guess it can be fine with the Dominaria Trapper, and it is a lot cheaper at the very least. But you can just give something flying with On Sarah's Wings in the first place. So, yeah, maybe Aven Sentry is a little bit better than Pegasus Courser as of right now. And Mesa Unicorn's a good 2-drop for our deck. Don't mind taking it. Maybe replace over the crappy Banalish Honor Guard. Already have double Wind Grace. Don't think I need a third. I don't think I need a Soul Salvage either. Could use a random Curve Topper. Ooh, I guess Neverminder's a Mesa Unicorn, so I think we'll snatch that up. Maybe Guardian of Koilos just to maybe untap Traxos. Not an exciting card, but I can see maybe playing it. And, well, there's another Banalish Honor Guard. Anyway, could take a Parting Wanderer as a random Curve Topper that we can use. So we kind of build our deck. I guess we can just cut the Sparring Construct. Maybe Invoke the Divine can go. I think I might like the double Soul Salvage with the Windgrace Acolytes. The removal is great. Yeah, cut another Banalish Honor Guard. Or 2 should be fine. I think I like the Voltaic Servant with Traxos in this deck. Esther Glider, maybe. But it's nice with the Dominaria Trapper. Maybe we don't need Guardian of Koilos. It is cheaper to play. But I might play the Parting Wanderer since our 2s are looking good already. And these are pretty bad. And this can be a fine late game Curve Topper. So now what? Already have Invoke, already have a Banalish Honor Guard. I don't think any of these matter. Maybe Sarah Disciple since we kind of have a historic theme going. And this can get pumped a little bit and deal a little bit of damage. Could have use Adamant Will as a bit of a trick. So yeah, pretty solid draft. I think this deck is going to overperform. So if we move our interaction on the other side, I think I like the Dark Bargain to help us draw. Soul Salvage looks decent with double Windgrace Acolyte to get back our creatures. In terms of historic, how much do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 ways to untap Traxos unless we have Voltaic Servant with Traxos, which is looking good. Maybe I can go down to 5 and cut the Guardian of Koilos. Maybe have the Parting Wanderer as a Curve Topper. I could just cut the Parting Wanderer, in fact, since it is kind of clunky. And we should be able to win by the air that we don't need a Trampler at the top end. If we can get the dream of having Traxos and Voltaic Servant, that can be fine. But if you get this to untap just like maybe once or twice, it can be really nice. Especially if you can just cast Lyra and On Sarah's Wings. So I'm down for this Traxos. Now just one more cut. Could see myself cutting the Adamant Will. Like our removal is good already. I don't know if we need any more. That we want to play a combat trick like Adamant Will. Cast down the Eviscerate, sell the Score, and Fungal Infection can be fine. Since I'm not a big fan of combat tricks, since again they can be kind of bad. How often is Sarah Disciple going to get in? Maybe a little bit. I don't know. I mean, how much is this going to be pumped? Probably not a lot. So it's probably not going to be that amazing, to be honest. But then again, Esther Glider is almost like a 2-1 flyer anyways. We could use some early game flyer to start shipping the opponent, but it's not a good blocker. In fact, it doesn't block very well, and this isn't going to trigger too often that it makes me want to keep attacking. So I could see myself just cutting this. There's the fact that I could just go 16 lands and just play a Banalish Honor Guard since our curve is looking kind of low. We don't have a ton of mana sinks at all. Just cards we just want to play on curve. Maybe Caligo Skin Witch can get there at 6 mana, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe we can go 16 lands, but I guess we have Soul Salvage to kind of bring back our creatures, and then for us to just replay them. So I think we want to still stick with 17. Definitely favoring black. 9-8 looks decent. If we go down to 16, what do we play? Don't think I need another 2-drop. I could cut the Adamant Will and replace it for something else. Like maybe Dub can be fine with the Fliers. Since this is not even a permanent, it's just a combat trick that might catch the opponent off guard. I guess it can be fine just to protect our creatures and maybe get a nice trade sometimes. So I don't hate the Adamant Will, especially if we're being aggressive. We could use a pump trick. And we should have enough creatures. Our main win condition is to fly over, so we don't need this Partick Wanderer. We don't need this Guardian, since they're kind of expensive anyways. Spartan Construct is mopey. 1/1 doesn't block very well. It does put a counter onto something, but it's still not great. I'd rather have a creature that already has a stat line going. Already have a Dark Bargain. Invoke is situational. Dub. Dub can maybe beat the Adamant Will, especially if we can put it onto a Flyer. And start giving it first strike and getting it through. I don't hate it. It might be reasonable to play a Dub in this deck. Even though we might get 2 for 1, it does enhance a creature. While Adamant Will is something that's temporary, just a temporary pump spell. And Dub we can just use to put on a Flyer and start clocking them. Like this on Sarah's Wings. So yeah, I don't hate it. With all these Flyers, Dub seems pretty decent. And we should have enough 2-drops that we don't need to play something like Banalish Honor Guard or Sarah Disciple, since those are pretty bad. So I think this is our deck here. Definitely going 9/8, and yeah, let's give it a go. Featuring Lyra Dawnbringer. Alright, what do we have? Turn 2 Knight of Grace as a 3/2 attacker. Eventually Aven Sentry into cast down. I think this is looking good, so let's take it. Mesa Unicorn. Maybe Knight of Grace is just better. I mean, it could get eaten by removal spell. But it does has first strike to block off this Mesa. So I think I'm liking it here. So it's not 2/2 yet. I guess it doesn't count lands as black permanents. Now he can start dubbing. I can punish him with cast down, so that seems pretty nice. I can wait till next turn and use it in case he tries to enhance it even more. So let's get in for a good attack. And say go. I don't think there's anything in instant speed that can save it if it decides to attack. So yeah, this cast down is looking decent here. Definitely punish for the 2 for 1, but I would have done it in my deck too. So definitely not a bad play. Aster Glider can start flying over, keeping the 2/2 on defense to get to block off a 2/2 is nice. Don't see a reason for attacking. Opponent has a bunch of creatures, but I can use first strike to kill them all off. So green, white, go white token seems to be the theme. But now Mesa Unicorn can maybe trade off for something. Again with the Aster Glider since they can't block. And say go. 4th land gives us access to Traxos, which we can untap and use as a blocker later. This has to attack every turn. So, alright, this is looking good. Don't think the play is Aven Sentry. I think it might be Traxos here, so we can untap it with Lyra eventually, and this could be a permanent blocker for us. But for now, we just send in this 2/1. Opponent could get in for a huge attack. Now I can play out this Aven Sentry and start clocking him in the air. He could get in for a huge attack and then force to block the guy's protector. But the first strike will kill it if he does an all-out attack. Motani, okay. That's not something I want to see. It also has reach as well. So it's going to be a pretty difficult card to deal with. I do have Sell the score to exile it, luckily. Return Motani from the graveyard to your hand. So if I exile it, then it can't come back. So that's looking very nice. And now I can start clocking him in the air. Don't mind attacking these both. That's a nice pickup. Top deck, Sell the score is definitely excellent. I like how Dominant Trapper has an arrow, but it doesn't have reach. To me, that's kind of interesting. I guess I can now just play out a Mesa Unicorn. That's another good blocker. And then we can start clocking him in the air. And I should have enough life gain if he attacks with all, and I'm forced to block the 4-2. That's not that big of a deal. Alright, that's going to be annoying, especially if he can enhance all of his creatures with Shalai next turn. Might have to get in for an all-out attack. And force him to do trades. Otherwise, I don't think we're going to win by staying back. So I think I just go for it. Yeah, I think we have to. Otherwise, we're not going to win this. He's just going to put counters onto everything and we won't have a good attack next turn. He eats my 3-2. The 2-1 gets attacked past. He's forced to block and trade off these, which I'm fine. Well, I can first strike the life linker so he doesn't get health from it. Definitely going to kill a life linker first so he doesn't gain life. And then afterwards, hopefully my Dominant Trapper can start tapping his Shalai down and I can get across the finish line. So all I need is a land to maybe tap this down and play out Lyra and maybe close out the game. Short sword. Well, that's annoying. I guess now he can get in for a good attack. But he doesn't have any life gain, so he does need to keep back Shalai. I guess Lyra can untap Traxos. Yeah, I think he's afraid of attacking because if he does, I could just finish him here. Alright, none of this. I guess we can dub onto the Dominant Trapper. It's not great. I am missing land drops. If I dub on the Dominant Trapper, he has to trade his creature with it. I guess he could double block. Yeah, I think I do it here. And if I do it, what happens? You can just put something in front of this. That's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I should be dead. So I do need to keep the Dominant Trapper behind as a blocker. So maybe I just Dark Bargain here. Find the land drop, at least. Take 2. I think I'm dead anyways. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I'm dead. Oops. Yep, good game. Close. If I top deck a land, I think I should have... Taxos would have untapped and I would have gotten him, but it's got mana screwed that game, so what? But I'm still running 17 lands in this deck. It's not 16 for sure, so first game was a whiff. Hopefully the next won't be. Pretty close. If we got the land, the Traxos would have untapped, and we would have a pretty good attacker, plus the Lyra. Could maybe start attacking through. Here, I do have Knight of Grace in my opening hand. I'm on the play. I guess I could keep and hopefully top deck a white eventually. It's a bit risky, but I think it's worth it here. It might be risky, but Knight of Grace is such a good 2-drop. Same with Dominant Trapper. Yeah, maybe we just mulligan, since we do need a white off the top. And if we don't pick up any, we're going to be far behind. Okay, this is better. I think I'm keeping this. And what do I bottom? I would like to Voltaic Servant. I think I have a second Soul Salvage, so I can bomb the first. I like the Voltaic Servant with Traxos if we get it, so I think it's important to have it. Here I can start out with maybe Mesa Unicorn to get some lifelink damage in. Opponent could just opt. Could have Syncopate up next turn, but I should have a 2-drop that can deal with it. Alright, I don't mind I don't mind shipping in with these Mesa Unicorns. So let's get in for the first attack. And if he tries to Syncopate, I should have enough mana to pay for 1. So this counterspell isn't going to do anything if he has Syncopate. And this lifelink really matters. He could just kill this. Vicious Offering, okay, that makes sense. Drudge Sentinel, okay, I guess he can trade off for this Mesa Unicorn, which I don't mind, to be honest, since this can just gain Indestructible forever. If he keeps up mana for it, which is pretty hard. So what do? I can unload my hand. I guess Aven Sentry makes sense here, so I can start flying over and attacking. I think just fine letting it go. Because he needs to keep mana up with this to make it indestructible. So very often or not, he does need to tap out eventually. I mean, I guess I could just trade it off early so he doesn't get this in the late game to constantly chump block. Here, I think we just attack for 3. And then he could have Counterspell up. So, I think I can play the Aster Glider. Maybe that, if that gets countered, I think it's okay. I guess he can counter my Knight, and it's not the end of the world, but it is a good attacker in his deck since it's hexproof from black. So yeah, let's just play the Aster Glider. He could have Syncopate and counter it, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. I do have the Voltaic Servant to attack Traxos if I have to. Yep. Pay 2, decline. Yeah, I knew he had Syncopate up, so that's fine. I can fly over. Could play Knight of the Windgrace Acolyte here. There's no reason to attack because he can just make it indestructible. And the Voldonian Arcanist. I guess I can start attacking and gain lifelink into this. I guess I can't attack past this in the first place. So now I can play all my playables. I have Grace is looking excellent, and then the Voltaic Servant. Can untap Traxos if I have it. He could have Phyrexian Scriptures that I should be aware of. So that's also something to consider. This Hexproof from black, so he can't block it with a black creature. Ooh, and Sarah's... Ooh. Yeah, let's cast it on Sarah's Wings, why not? This can get countered, I guess. Now this is Hexproof and his first strike and lifelink, so pretty hard for him to deal with, especially if he has black removal. He could have Blink of an Eye, I guess. That's the only way to deal with it, but that's pretty niche, I think, so... Black removal can't deal with a Knight of Grace. So yeah, nice victory there. White, black historic. Showing you how it's done. Let's move on. Alright, well, we can cast Voltaic Servant, but 4th line gives us access to Traxos, and Voltaic Servant can untap it. So I think this is good. I don't mind keeping this, even though we do need white. We should get the Traxos eventually, and then Voltaic Servant can constantly untap it. And this isn't a scary target for the opponent to deal with until later. So it's definitely worth playing Artificer's Assistant, so he's going to start attacking the air, and I should have my 4th land. That's looking good. White would be nice next turn, since I can play out the Dominaria Trapper. But I guess I can start attacking with this anyway, since it has built-in Vigilance. Alright, nothing here. I guess I'll just attack in for 1. Voltaic Servant untaps, end of turn, so... And then next turn I can play Traxos. And then untap it afterwards. But I should attack first with the Voltaic Servant, and then I should untap Traxos the turn it's being played. I shouldn't Traxos main phase because he could just kill Voltaic Servant. But if I do my second main, I can definitely unload here. He's probably just going to attack. Might just keep it back now. But this is looking very nice with Traxos. I guess I could just attack with the Voltaic Servant. Or I can keep it behind as a blocker if he kills it. And that can be pretty neat, so... At the beginning of the end step, untap target artifacts, so no attacks. And now Traxos can untap. And the 4-mana 7/7 is definitely very scary, especially with Trample. So the opponent is definitely on the back foot. Okay, well that's a quick victory. Seems like the way to win a game is just untap Traxos on turn 4. And there you have Dominaria Draft. And let's keep playing, 2 and 1. Mesa Unicorn on 2. Eventually we'll get Lyra, as long as they don't snipe it. And Dominaria Trapper looks good, so this is a good keep. Lunatic's PR. I keep playing against this guy. Ooh, and even Traxos? This is interesting. So I do have an early Mesa. Opponent's also in black-white, so he should have some premium removal spells lined up. And a Thefum Thallid. I don't mind trading this off, because eventually I do need to get past this, and I don't want to really trade this off with the Dominaria Trapper, so I don't mind attacking, gaining a bit of life, forcing the trade to happen. And now my Dominaria Trapper can attack past the Spormcrown Thallid. I can even just play out Traxos next turn to tap something down and attack. Well, I mean, I don't think that's a good idea now, I guess, since, yeah, just play out Traxos. Since I do want to trade off for this 2/2. If I attack, he's just going to attack back and gain life, so I think I stay back. Yeah, I think I trade. I don't want him to gain infinite life forever. And Windgrace Acolyte is going to gain some life. But now I can untap with Traxos of Lyra and get in with... I guess I can keep it back as a blocker. Do I play Lyra first? Probably. I think it's fine. And I can keep back the Traxos as a pretty decent ground blocker and say go. A 5-mana, 5/5 flying with first life, strike and lifelink is definitely hard to deal with. He has Urgaros that he can get back. Here I could just Dark Bargain, maybe develop my own Windgrace. It's going to be pretty difficult for him to beat Lyra, especially with all this life gain and damage coming in. I think I might have to develop the board. I could just Dark Bargain here, since I don't really want to mill my Soul Salvage, and I think I bottom 1 already. No, I didn't bottom 1 yet. So, Yeah, let's Dark Bargain. And then maybe we can cast Windgrace later. I do want to make sure I get my Dark Bargain, of course. And we also have Cast Down to deal with the Flyer. So, definitely in a good spot. Soul Salvage, getting back Yorgos. I can't kill Yorgos since it's a legendary. Sacrifice 2 creatures, return target creature from your graveyard to your battlefield. Alright. Don't think I'm scared of Whisper as well. I could just shoot down the Windgrace here. Yeah, I think I'll do it. And then next turn I can snipe out Yorgos. But for now, we just do the most mana efficient play of the Windgrace Acolyte. Hopefully we don't mill a Soul Salvage. Alright, thank God. Just mill some lands. Keep land in hand to play around the Jesse has removal now. Alright, Eviscerate. So I guess we're kind of playing defense here. Ooh, another Windgrace. I guess I can now attack. Just play the other, and if he trades, I can just play the other one. I mean, playing out the Aven Sentry is pretty much the same thing, and I probably don't want to mill myself. I'm not in a desperate need to mill myself, in fact, because if I mill my Soul Salvage, that's going to be a problem, since I want to eventually get back Lyra. So I think the Aven Sentry makes more sense than the Windgrace Acolyte. Now I can keep all the Flyers back. Knight of Grace, that seems fine, but I think I'm attacking in for 3. And now the Windgrace Acolyte looks good. Maybe I just keep the Knight of Grace in my hand while I can. So, so if he does kill this Windgrace in the connect, I can discard a land. And if I try to kill the Yorgos, he'll just sacrifice with a Whisper. So I need to be careful here not to use my removal spells too promptly. I'm fine trading this off since he would need to top deck another creature to sacrifice the Whisper to get it back. Here I can easily Eviscerate. Makes sense. Oops, I guess he can get back Yorgos as well. Oops. Yeah, bit of a misplay there. Since he can sacrifice Whisper as well. Do I get in for 7? Could just play out the Knight of Grace and take it easy. And I can start attacking in the ground with the dub. And maybe trade it off. Okay, Danitha is difficult to deal with. I got to sell the score now, and I have Traxos behind on defense, so this is looking nice. Now I guess I can dub. I guess I can dub the Knight so he can start attacking as well. And I can get in for 7 while the Danitha doesn't have any good blocks. And a 7/7 can block Danitha. Hopefully he doesn't top deck anything good. He has his own dub, but I can still block. I guess he's just doing this to gain life, so I might as well block it. And he just concedes. Alright, I mean, I think that was oh yeah, it will die if he attacks into Traxos. Alright, so a pretty solid victory there. Shows that our deck is pretty powerful. Currently 1-3, let's keep going. Right, Knight of Grace, Mesa Unicorn. Yeah, this deck is looking awesome. And I might just start with the Mesa again to just get the early lifelink damage in if the opponent doesn't have any answers. And it does play around shock a bit since I don't want my Knight of Grace to get shocked. The Knight of Grace is a lot more valuable, but the Mesa Unicorn being able to get the early damage in is much more important. And now he has Sheevan Fire, so definitely nice. Now I can play the Knight of Grace, start attacking, and if he kills that, I can fetch it back with Soul Salvage. I can just play out the Caligo Skin Witch, in fact, just to give this, just to start attacking in for 3, which isn't bad. Keldon Overseer, okay. Guess I can just play out the Skin Witch. I guess I could just play out the Voltaic Servant. I can even Soul Salvage back if I have to. Yeah, let's play out the Servant. I do need 6 mana to get this going, so yeah, I think I'll play this out. It's just because the opponent looks like he's being aggressive, and I could start attacking him for 3 instead. And this has First Strike. The opponent shouldn't be able to make me discard in red-blue. And I'm fine maybe taking 3 here. I could trade off the Caligo. This Voltaic Servant is great with Traxos if I manage to get it. I do need to mill myself deeper though with my Windgrace Acolytes. So I think I should maybe play a little bit slowly, but this 3 damage over time with the Knight of Grace is good. So I don't hate actually, yeah, maybe I just trade out the Voltaic Servant. Since I don't know how long I'm going to have Traxos, and this is a lot of damage. And I can start getting him to 4 instead. Could just Soul Salvage here, why not? Maybe just put another creature on the battlefield. Mesa Unicorn can start getting in. Now opponent might just stay back to block this 2/2 Mesa Unicorn. But this 3/2 First Striker is definitely doing a lot of work. Hopefully he doesn't have Fight with Fire soon. Alright, Icy Manipulator is annoying. Too bad I can't really kill it. I might just try out for the Mesa Unicorn, which I'm expecting him to do. That's totally fine. So we can move to combat. Have him trade off for the Mesa Unicorn, and then I can play out the Voltaic Servant. And now I can play out the Voltaic Servant. Wish I can deal with this this Icy Manipulator, since it's going to constantly tap down my Knight of Grace, but I can start chipping in for 2 at least. So I think I need to start top decking creatures or else I'll be in trouble. I do have a second Soul Salvage in this deck, of course, but I do need to start getting some Flyers or something across. Because if he does have Fight with Fire, then I'm pretty much dead. And Zahid, well, goodbye Zahid. Nice knowing you. And now we can attack in with the cards. Might as well play out the land. And this is exiled, so that's really nice. Coldwater Snapper. I can't attack past that. Ooh, but Traxos? Ooh, with the Voltaic Servant can. I guess he can tap down Traxos instead. But I might as well play it if he has Counterspell. So, yeah, he might just keep the Icy Manipulator up, but I can play a Flyer next turn. And then, he'll be forced to choose between tapping down a Flyer or Traxos. And Traxos can eventually get this Coldwater Snapper out of the way. 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's 2 lands away from kicked Fight with Fire. So we do need to kind of put the opponent on the clock, in a sense. I hate how this turtle has hexproof. The only way to get across it with a big creature like Traxos. Okay, our Flame Flight is annoying. So now he can deal with the Traxos and the Flyer. Dominant Trapper isn't going to do much, but I guess I could play out as bait. Yeah, even Sentry's fine. He could Syncopate this, I guess. Okay, and eventually I do need to get him for a huge attack. But for now, I think he's going to tap down my Traxos. So I do need to get in for a huge attack eventually. That's going to lock down my Traxos. That's fine. Do I attack? Probably not, since he can just block off my Knight of Grace. So the opponent's plan is now just to fly over with the Cold Water Snapper. My plan is to basically flood the board and put so many playables that he can't keep up with it, and then I can start zerging him for 7. Opt, okay, to find a playable. Don't have any cards that can deal with this Icy Manipulator. No Fiery Interventions and whatnot. Ooh, Cast Down's looking pretty decent, but I might cast that down later. So he taps down Traxos. Next turn, how much can I get in? He can block the 3/2. Might be lethal next turn. We'll see. So if I attack now, what happens? I could just cast down before it blocks. He kills the 3/2. I get in for 4. Maybe I should wait next turn where I can attack with a Dominant Trapper too. So I think we just say go. And I could just cast down right now. Never mind. In case he top deck a counter spell, I might want to. I could cast down my main phase. Okay, Keldon Overseer. I guess he might steal something here, like Traxos. That's fine, I can take this damage, it's not the end of the world. He's probably going to take my Traxos here. And I don't mind taking 7. It's not the end of the world. Well, I guess it's tapped on my turn, so he doesn't have to use the Icy Manipulator on it. But taking 7 is not the end of the world again. I have a good life total. All I need to do is swarm the opponent and win from there. I don't need to necessarily well, on Sarah's Wings would have been nice to give us another Flyer, but I guess we milled it, and a Soul Salvage. So at least it helped us dig it through our deck. But hopefully he doesn't play anything else next turn. I can tap Traxos. I can get in for a huge attack next turn. What happens? He blocks one of my Flyers, blocks one of my 3/2s. I can get in for blocks a Flyer, blocks a 3/2. I still have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I still should have lethal unless he plays something here. This Icy Manipulator is doing good work. Flying with Cold Water Snapper is definitely annoying as well. But the opponent doesn't have a traditional blue red deck whatsoever. I think I'm just gonna get in next turn. If I top deck a historic card, that would be pretty nice too. No historic cards, so he's gonna tap down the Traxos. He blocks a 3/2. He blocks another 3/2. I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage. So he should be dead. So I think we just move to attacks here. Of course, he taps down Traxos, and we can attack with all, and it should be lethal. Alright, sweet. Pulling out with the most synergistic blue-red deck since you really want to go Wizards. But I think he managed to build something pretty interesting. Alright, currently 4-1. Let's try to get to our 5 or 6 or 7 wins. This deck is definitely very powerful. Let's keep going. Alright, we have Mesa Unicorn on 2 and we can equip Dub onto it. Eventually we can drop Traxos. I might just do this. If he has removal, I'll be punished, but if he doesn't, I can get rewarded really highly. Do I Dub on the Mesa? I think I'd go for it. Even though it's high risk, it's definitely high reward. Just think having a 4/4 lifelinker with first strike. And let's say this does get answers, not the end of the world. Cast down would suck here. So I think I just attack. He could have removal, like blink of an eye. Do I just go for it? Yeah, let's go for it. This is not a game for wussies. If he has cast down, I'm gonna be pretty upset. Or vicious offering. I guess he has vicious offering. Or blink. But blink isn't the worst. I can just recast it. But I guess he doesn't have vicious offering. Okay. Wow, sweet. This might just win me the game. 4/4 first striking lifelinker Mesa Unicorn. Do I play the Caligo? It doesn't do much besides being a blocker. So I think I keep it in my hand. And now I can play out Traxos, but let's get an attack in first. I could keep Traxos back in case he has Syncopate, which he might have. So I think we'll just pass here. I do want to tap out for something so I can resolve this Traxos. Alright, Deep Freeze isn't the worst. I think we'll take it and then we can resolve Traxos. And it's still a 2/6 blocker at the end of the day with Defender, so Traxos looks good. Eventually I can kick out this Caligo Skin Witch and make him discard 2. Should have tapped it better, I guess, since I can leave up 1 black for Fungal Infection. Guess the opponent has Zelda score, alright. I can't soul salvage it back, unfortunately. Yeah, I think I just use it. Because why not? Making the opponent discard 2 is really nice. Nice 2-for-1 already. And his own Caligo Skin Witch and Sage. So he does have stronger cards in his hand. But the Caligo was really nice. I can soul salvage it back and make him discard even more if I have to. The Mesa Unicorn can constantly block his ground creatures if he plays something big. But blue-black doesn't tend to play anything big. They just want to fly over as a win condition. Maybe use up all the removal spells. Guess you have soul salvage here. And he could just use the kicker on me, but I don't mind if he wants to use the kicker. I can start pressuring with the Dominaria Trapper. I can even Fungal Infection my own creature just to make sure that I get a 1/1 Fungal. So he could just kicker me next turn and I lose out on a Soul Salvage, but I don't have anything in the graveyard anyways. Urza's Tome. Okay, the opponent's trying to draw cards now with this. Guess if he plays a Sage, I can attack into it. He can block by Caligo, and I can Fungal Infection. I guess now he's just trying to draw his way out. He might be looking for a land drop so he can cast the Caligo Skin Witch next turn. Okay, maybe he didn't get his land drop. Now I have double Soul Salvage, so if I lose one, I still have another one, so this is fine. Just say go. I might just dump the Fungal and the Soul Salvage if he goes for the kick to Skin Witch. And he does. And yeah, that's fine. It's not the end of the world losing a Fungal Infection and Soul Salvage. And I should keep another land in case he has another one. Let's attack him for 3. He can chump if he wants. Eventually I can pick up something historic to okay, Phyrexian's Scriptures. Alright, that's scary. I guess everything will die, but I can get it back with Soul Salvage. I don't know why he's playing this. It's not an artifact. It's going to die to the Dominaria Trapper. So I think this turn we just attack. I think it's safe to maybe play out the land. I guess he can just block with everything, so no need to do anything here. I guess now he can Phyrexian Scriptures, and then next chapter he can exile my card, so I might as well Soul Salvage now while I can. Now the question is, what do I want to Soul Salvage back? Maybe the Dominaria Trapper and the Calico Skin Witch. And if this gets countered, I'm going to be pretty upset, but I think I like this and this card. Could have a counter spell now. That would be pretty bad, but I gotta prevent this from being exiled. Pay 5, decline. Play out my land already, so alright, so the opponent might have gotten me here. I just need to make sure I get enough Flyers to fly over and kill the opponent. But for now, I'll be taking 2 on the ground. I gained a bunch of lifelink already, but the opponent is stabilizing with the Urza's Tome. Eventually, this Cabal Paladin might race him, but ooh, Knight of Race is excellent. Hexproof from black. Oh, now Wizard's Retort. Okay, so the opponent definitely has his counter spells going. I think we can say go. Alright, just need to find more playables off the top and a Parting Wanderer to start smashing through me. So I do need a Flyer, maybe Windgrace or Lyra can win me this. Otherwise I'm just going to die in 2 turns, which, you know, this game was very close. He might have a removal spell off the top. But he definitely played this game very good with the Phyrexian Scripture and then the counter spells. Even though he's running some questionable cards. Hopefully Lyra can get me there. Windgrace. Okay, I can maybe trade this off potentially. I would love this a few turns earlier. And I think I'm still dead if I trade for the 4-2. Unless he doesn't attack here. But he's probably going to attack, so... Alright, close game. Didn't get there because Phyrexian Scripture is a busted bomb in this set, but maybe if I top deck some Flyers earlier, I maybe would have gotten there, and if he didn't counter my Soul Salvage and my Knight of Grace, maybe I would have gotten there too. Maybe I should have played around Syncopate better. So let's make sure these last 2 games count. I like Lyra on 5, Avon on 4. I think this is fine keeping, even though it's a little bit slow. I do have early game defense to hold off the opponent. A Short Sword, okay. Not the end of the world. And Mesa Unicorn, that's a very good top deck. I guess I can go again for an attack now. I don't mind since I can use the Fungal Infection to get a good trade. You could just Sword this. I might expect him to, but I don't want to use Cast Down on it, so I might just will take Servant. And he might Short Sword onto the Mesa Unicorn. I can use Fungal Infection and double block it. That seems reasonable. Could also have Adamant Will or something. He is hovering this will take on this will take Servant quite aggressively. Don't know if there's any fight spell for 1 green, but I'm happy throwing a Fungal Infection away against this Mesa Unicorn. I guess I can stay back here since the opponent does seem kind of scared. Keep a Fungal or Cast Down. Could attack in. Could just Cast Down on this. Nah, I don't want to Cast Down on a 2-2. I think I might want to stay back and just hopefully hit my land drops. Alright, Avon Sentry is something I need to deal with as well since it's a powerful flyer. Yeah, let's just Cast Down. Yeah, on the Mesa Unicorn. I don't want to gain life, so this is fine. And I can exile it, but I can also play on my own sentry. But I think it's fine attacking here, since if he attacks, I can use Fungal Infection on the Aven Sentry, and he doesn't fall for it. So now Aven Sentry is a good follow-up. And Quende, okay. Quende is definitely scary. It's a 3/3 double striker. But I have Lyra. So yeah, Lyra just goes for it. And I think I keep everything back. I can afford to take 6 from this, and I can exile it with settle the score eventually. Alright. Well, I guess the only way you win this limited format is to drop Lyra on turn 5, and the opponent explodes. So, alright, it's currently 5 and 2. Hopefully I get to 7. Let's keep playing. Alright, well, great opening hand, Knight of Grace, Mesa Unicorn, and Dominant Trapper. Definitely keeping. Now, the question is which one do I lead? Probably Mesa Unicorn, so it can absorb a shock. Knight of Grace just seems like a better card since it's a first striker. Maybe I can trade off the Mesa Unicorn. Now this is interesting, I can turn Mesa Unicorn to a first striker if I have to. So, what do I play? Maybe Knight of Grace since it can block the 2/2 profitably. And if he attacks into this, I'm going to be suspicious, so definitely not going to block. And Aster Glider to start getting in. Alright, think I can play land now. Don't think I need to dub here. I think the Dominant Trapper makes sense. Do I attack? Probably, since I would be trading in more damage. He could just double block. I guess the Aster Glider can't block, so I can tap down whatever he plays next by playing on Sarah's Wings and start flying over. But the opponent could have a lot of great removal spells, and it could be very hard to deal with. This is only hexproof from black, so it can still die to red removal at the very least. So I should be cautious here, not to overextend. So I think maybe it's just fine to attack here and see what happens. And then I can just play out the Mesa Unicorn and play it slow. Because the opponent could have instant speed removal or like 5 mana removal spells, and just getting rid of our enchantments makes a big difference. Yeah, I could like shock end of turn. Okay, Wizard's Lighting new. Okay, so it was good to play around it. I should be able to outrace him. If he leaves and mana up, is obviously going to signify a removal spell, and now the Fire Elemental. Here, I guess I can on Sarah's Wings and start gaining life. I could also dub the I guess I can on Sarah's Wing and attack with both. I don't hate that. And we can tap down this Fire Elemental, and then we can get in for a large attack, gaining a lot of life. Next turn we can Skin Witch him. And this 4/3 should be hard for him to deal with unless he has removal. Do I block here? Probably not. 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I don't block. I think it's fool's. I think it's foolish to block since he's attacking a 2/1 into this. I can now Calico Skin Witch's last few cards. Getting for a good attack. Ooh, Settle's score doesn't seem bad. So I might just leave behind this as a first strike attacker. And then I might as well settle away the Fire Elemental, but let's attack first. So this is a lot of life. I could just kick away his last card. But, I could just Calico. Why not Calico? Because this can chump block the 5/4 anyways. Yeah, let's just go for it. Oops. Yeah, that was a big misplay. Yeah, I guess, yeah, I could have, kicked the Skin Witch to get rid of his last card, but, maybe it was just a land anyways. Here, and yeah, I might as well chump block. This is fine, this is fine. I don't think I want to lose my Fliers, so I think this is okay. He could have a barge in here. And how much damage would this be? Yeah, run amok. I think I should be okay. Okay, that was very close. Yeah, I should have been careful. But now I can just finish this game off. Jeez, okay. Almost got me there. He was 1 damage off. If I wasn't careful, I would have... Yeah, maybe I should have Skin Witched him. If I Skin Witch, I would have gotten rid of Run Amok, so that was definitely a huge misplay. What I just did. But currently, yeah, 6 and 2. Not a bad draft deck. Let's take a picture to show off how cool we are. And let's kind of look through the deck again. Mesa Unicorn is a great 2-drop. Definitely loving it here. Voltaic Servant isn't amazing, but it helps untap Traxos whenever it comes into the battlefield. And sometimes you do have matches where you can turn to Voltaic Servant, then Traxos ends up in the late game or as a 4-drop, and then you can untap Traxos infinitely, so it can start getting in. So it's pretty good. We have Settle Score, Eviscerate, and fungal infection as removal. Not a lot of removal, but they're pretty premium and they can deal with almost any threat. Dark Bargain and Soul Salvage, double Soul Salvage should help us draw cards in the late game. Playing double Soul Salvage because we're playing double Windgrace Acolyte as our top end cards, and if we end up milling away 1 Soul Salvage, another Soul Salvage should also still be in the deck. They also yeah, they synergize with the Windgrace Acolyte really well since, like, for example, if we mill a Lyra, we can Soul Salvage it into our hands and pretty much dig deeper into our deck with this. Double Windgrace for the Soul Salvage. Lyra is just a busted bomb. Why not play it? Aven Sentry as an evasive 4-drop that we need. Traxos, since we do have a number of historic spells, not a lot, 1, 2, 3, 4. But if we're able to get Voltaic Servant with it and untap, it becomes a really nice blocker and a powerful threat. Double Dominant Trapper works well with the historic theme, sometimes being able to tap a creature down and get in for a bunch of damage. Aster Glider, just a nice evasive attacker. Not an amazing card, and you do get 2 for 1, but it is definitely really nice with Mesa Unicorn, and if we're able to enhance a flyer with it, it's actually pretty decent. We have double Calico Skin Witch in case we need some early 2-drops, and if we kick this in the late game, we can make them discard cards. Double Mesa Unicorn's amazing with Dub and on Sarah's Wings, and Knight of Grace is just an excellent 2-drop overall. So overall, this deck is pretty good. Not playing Party Wanderer because it's too expensive. Like, we're kind of lacking historic synergy for Traxos, and I understand that. But we do have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that can untap it, and Voltaic Servant can't untap it permanently. Party Wanderer isn't amazing because our win condition is flying through the air, and we're not looking to trample onto the ground. It could untap Traxos, of course, and give us another way to untap it, but I don't think it's worth playing this expensive card when we can just win through the air. Spartan Conjurer is just a 1/1. It leaves behind a counter. It's pretty bad. It doesn't block well or attack well, and doesn't really trade off with anything. Where we have a Dark Bargain, don't need a second one. Invoke could be main deckable, but it is situational, and there are circumstances where you don't run into it too often. Sarah Disciple isn't a good attacker or blocker, and the pump effect is quite conditional. I don't think we have enough historic to constantly trigger this off to make this into a 2/2 flyer. And at the end of the day, a 1-mana 1/1 flying and attacking is pretty bad. Could see the reason of having another Banash Honor Guard, but it's a pretty bad 2-drop regardless, and it gets blanked in the mid game. Admin Will can be a nice temporary combat trick, but why not just play a dub when you can give a creature +2/+2 permanently and first strike. So this is our deck. There's some games that we did punt on or the opponent punted, so I don't think the deck is perfect. It definitely has its problems, but the fact that we managed to get 6-2 with this is pretty nice. Dominaria is not a set a lot of people know how to draft, so it could be because our opponents are fairly new and they aren't great. So yeah, I think this is our deck, and it has 14 creatures and 9 non-creatures, so that looks pretty decent. And I think the double Soul Salvage is definitely worth it in this deck. In case our creatures get answered, we can just get them back, and double Windgrate's Acolyte can fetch them back. So let's move to the final boss and see if we get there. Otherwise, it's just a mopey 6-2, and I'm fine with that since I made back my gems. So let's keep playing. Alright, final boss. Let's make this one count. Make sure we don't misplay too much and get some perfect games out of this. So, I think this is a mulligan. Triple plains, not a single black. We do need double black for Settle, a single black for Windgrace, and one black to at least get Caligo Skin, which definitely not a keep. Hopefully the next hand is better. This is keepable. We have turn 2 Mesa Unicorn and Dominaria Trapper and Lyra to help us close the game. So I think this is a keep. I think we want to keep our lands and not be too greedy so we can reach Lyra. So now what do we bottom? This is kind of tricky. Maybe we do bottom the Mesa Unicorn, miss out on the 2-drop, but we still have a 3-drop to follow up. That might be slightly better in case the opponent has a 3 toughness creature. So sure, why not? And a dub would have been nice with the Mesa Unicorn on 2. So, well, I mean, you never know what you're going to top deck. And a Fungal Infection can be fine, and we also have Cast Down up in case the opponent plays something threatening. And Danita is something I don't mind using Cast Down on, since the first strike negates the... Oh, I guess it's legendary, so I can't deal with this. So I guess I'll just start taking lifelink damage from this. But there could be a turn where I can Fungal Infection Danita and then block with the Dominaria Trapper. But this is really hard to deal with, and it might just win the game for him if I can't get rid of this eventually. So I don't know if I want to dub onto Dominaria Trapper, because if he has open mana up or removal spell, I get severely punished. Could next turn keep a Fungal Infection, use it on Danita, and then block with Dominaria Trapper, getting a trade. Well, trying with Gerard is pretty gross, so I do need to pick up a removal spell eventually. So nothing can really compete with Danita except maybe a dub, and hopefully I can trade it. Otherwise I'll be taking a million damage. Can't cast down on it. Fungal Infection doesn't do much. So yeah, I think I dub here. And he probably has a removal spell. Alright. That's not fun. That's not a fine way to end the draft. That's already a 2-for-1. Alright, I could just Fungal Infection here. I could use it in another turn to just prevent damage and shrink down something. Keldon Overseer isn't bad. Now I can Fungal Infection the Keldon Overseer. Maybe leave behind, use the Fungus to block and negate the damage. I mean, he's a fine chump blocker in the future, so probably no blocks. And Lyra is great now. I can cast this, and if it gets answered, I can Soul Salvage it back and eventually replay her. So hopefully Lyra can help me close this game out. Might as well block it, I guess. Yeah, now he has a removal, and his Exile? Come on. Well, I guess this last opponent has us pretty badly with Danita, since I don't even think Soul Salvage works here. I guess I might as well Soul Salvage. but it's pretty bad. Might have to just chump with the fungus. Yep. He had Blessed Light and all in Triumph and Shivan Fire against my Lyra. If this, I was fine with a fire intervention, but definitely don't want to. Definitely not great if he uses Blessed Light on it. So yeah, maybe the final boss is really the final boss that we're gonna have trouble with. Could cast down on this, but I don't really want to cast on a 2/2. Guess I maybe force the Soul Salvage. Maybe take 4, block the 2/2. It's not great, but I guess I'll do it anyways. Maybe trade off for it. Since the 4/4 first striker is pretty much impossible to deal with, I might as well take the 4/4. There's a possibility that there's a big creature that might end up top decking next turn, and I can actually do a decent block on Danta. Or I can exile this, or well, Dominaria Trapper is annoying. I guess I have the Dark Bargain now and chump. Might as well do it now. Main phase to find something. Traxos is fine. Calico Skin Witch is fine. So I have to chump block with Maid Voltaic Servant. I could chump block with the Dominaria Trapper. It really depends on what he taps down. Because I really don't want to lose this Traxos. I could just cast down now. Yeah, let's cast down on this Dominaria Trapper. So he doesn't cast any historic cards to tap down my Voltaic Servant. I can chump the 4/4, block the 2/2. And then Traxos can basically block off this Danta, which is really nice, unless he has another removal spell for it. And Traxos looks good here. I could also Calico Skin Witch and take 2, but I think Traxos is a lot more important. Could just play out Calico anyways. Since if he has a removal spell, he's probably going to use it anyways, I guess. Because if I untap this, let's just say he has a removal spell, then I'm forced to chump block, take 2. Now let's risk it. Let's get a kicked Skin Witch online, and maybe just take 2 for now. Maybe I should have played it out, yeah. Probably a little bit too greedy. Because 1 damage will kill me here, yeah. Yeah, I guess I should have played it out. That was pretty bad. Oh well, I got 6 and 2. It's not the end of the world. So hopefully we can draft a 7-win game eventually, but I guess this is a decent draft to upload. Yeah, maybe I should play out the Calico Skin Witch, but you know, 6 wins is still fine. And let's craft some packs. Just get 1 Dominaria pack, okay, so the payoff isn't as high. I see. Verdant Force is a great card, great first pick. Does require you a lot of mana, but if you're able to get there and it's stakes on the battlefield, you can pretty much win the game with a million Saproings. So there you guys have it. 6-2 draft, 6-3 draft. Hopefully I can get a 7-win draft going, but kind of shows you this format and how it works. So until next time, have a great day.